daylight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, what's up, Daylight Burners? Zach Sargent back on the show for another philosophy session. We tend to do that once we get to going, but we were talking here for a little bit before we got rolling, and then realized like we're not getting any of this down, so we better go. But we were talking about how the podcast has progressed and how I want to go from here, and I really think Zach just like I said, I'll keep plugging along like I'm doing, and I like those days where you get kind of like some writer's block, and especially nowadays because like everything is politics all the goddamn time. Like there's just nothing but politics always. And I really miss the days when people would have like screaming matches over quarterbacks and not 80-year-old turds that steal all our money. But I think as long as I continue to enjoy it, then I think it's a success. I mean, I'd never pictured myself having a theme song, but I've got a pretty damn good theme song now, and and it's wild every time I put an episode together and it comes on. I was like, that Matt Wilson wrote that for me. That's pretty fucking cool. Like that's rad.
I love the theme song. I think every time I hear this, it's a little. It's part of the experience, and you need the loud opening of the gate, and then you know that. So it's all part of the video. Only half of it's about the music experience.
Yeah, they and it's just, man, it's cool. Like it's really well done. Like it had the feel that I wanted, and it's just like an old school Western movie type tune. And so I just feel like I'm the hero in my own play, which we all kind of are,
We all are. We're the main story.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how.
Exactly. We're all just kind of competing films in the endless market. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. We're just you get some crazy collaborations on your own film, and that's been the cool thing about this show is I've got to meet some people I would have never would have otherwise. And I mean, yeah, like I talked to the CEO of a $1 billion publicly traded company like shortly before it became a publicly traded company. That dude took an hour out of his day, which he had to have been just insane, insanely busy. And so I got to do that. I got to talk to, Core Blund, who's been kind of I wouldn't say a hero, but a guy that I really respect. And, it's just a hell of a good songwriter. And I got to meet him, got to visit with him because of this show. And I've expanded my network quite a little bit. And, I guess that's the best thing about it. I've been able to make a lot of new friends and reconnect with some old ones, and been able to help like connect people together. That's a really cool thing is when I see somebody who follows the show liking a post from somebody else who follows the show, and I know that they found each other through the show. Like I know I watched that happen in real time, and that's pretty cool more than anything. And is and I've been able to showcase how diverse our particular little world is, our genre.
Sure. You've done a great job with it. I mean, you're kind of you pick. I think that there's definitely going to be, you know, and they've done a really good job with it, and it's getting hard too because I rarely used to. I posted stuff. Was a pretty active Facebook guy. I hardly mess with it anymore. To be honest,
I know it's.
We all it's fun like watching the gladiators in the arena, the excitement, but I don't think we were ever supposed to be this federal level in politics.
Mm-mm.
And I both say that, and I'm like, I mean, all of you motherfuckers. You know,
Yeah.
I hate that necessarily, but by winning, I would win oftentimes has an effect on your personal life. And
Yep.
the to have any direct correlation for the most part. I mean, those things completely separate, right? The Fed should, and we just after president, it hasn't stopped. Republican in office or Democrats keep snowballing the amount of impact that they can have on your shopping, and it's not slowing down. Kind of came to the conclusion finally, like, you know, it suck. And if you support him, still I do think at some point it's like, beef, this is a goddamn dumpster fire. We are on the verge of another inflation, not an inflation, but recession. And we would have already didn't have actually a pretty strong. I didn't love the guy over from the past president, so we actually still have a pretty strong employment. I think the recession would have already hit.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I don't know. I look at all the you can watch like the aerial view of particularly on the West Coast, just all these cities at the camps, and it's even in Reno too. It's not. I mean, it's nothing like over in California, but even Reno's got a like. We were when we were waiting in line for the Dave Smith comedy show there in Reno. Me and my wife were playing is it libertarian or is it homeless? and it was about 50-50, and and like the Hoovervilles of the it wasn't just I mean that depression hit the rural folks well before it hit the city. The bottom dropped out of the wheat market in the early 20s, and so it wasn't until the after the stock market crash that the depression really hit the cities. But I think it's kind of the other way around. It's tough out here in the rural areas, but like when you're looking at the rent and shit in New York City, and I'm like, if you don't make $100,000 in LA, like you're poverty.
I mean, it's I was stuck only to like these metropolitan areas of New York, but looking like which used to be a pretty conservative Ford or anything in Prescott. That people don't want to move to fucking because if you can't afford Fort Collins, come but you can't hardly afford. You're going to pay $2,500 in anything worth it. Shit, you're making 72,000, 3,000. That's going to go. Give another $1,000 to the government. I mean, you're living off ranch cowboy wage. I mean, that's at $72,000 a year.
Yep.
Yes, I think you had a great. The urban areas now harder than it is the rural areas that's blossoming in the Southwest. A lot of the North is really damn. The guys in the Southwest are really starting to go. It's going to be interesting. I do always tell people a cow deal isn't food chain beef unless it will happen. And it's just right. That'll a mother cow shortage. Prices of beef at the store. See a shortage coming up yet? I could be wrong, but I haven't really coming up yet. To hurt, and it's going to hurt.
Yep. This cow deal, you know, they're selling off like crazy there in Central Texas. And and you know, and even the big places are calling hard. You know, all the small timers there around Dallas, it sounds like they're all just out. But I mean, that's kind of how it goes. I mean, go read my brother-in-law, who is not a cowboy by any means. He's a pilot, and but he's from Montrose, Colorado. So he's a outdoorsman, and really good guy. But he's like, I think Elmer Kelton's The Day It Never Rained, or The Time It Never Rained, should be required reading, and I think so. You know, Elmer Kelton's a hell of an author, but that book just sticks in my head because it's so well done. How he wove in like the bankers getting into the ranch business, and then being the first ones to sell out, the first ones to sign up for government programs and shit. And it's just I agreed with him wholly, and I like it kind of hit me because he's like I said, he's not a cowboy, and that's very much a cowboy book. And but yeah, I agree with that. That should be required reading for just about anybody, just to see how a drought and government programs and just how tough it is to be a successful rancher.
And and that last time I was on was when he was left Colorado, and just kind of the brief talks. It's fun. I fantasize this dumb shit dream. I have my own spread, my own, barring in the economies, or like all of a sudden we start eating. There's no way you make it. On a little home play, horses out to go day work. Modern cowboy dream. The era of the off and ending up as a 50,000-60,000 acres are gonna happen, and you can twist it. You can say, well, you can run do what doesn't make a shit. A cow will never ever pay, do something else, real estate mogul. But if you have a mama cow or a yearling ever, you're crazy. It will just no fiscal way that it. Speaking from experience, because I've looked this country in the U.S. No offense on buddies, but places that are running cattle, it's left where you can do it. Make it work. I mean, it's everybody has the little their own shit, but it's over. I mean, there's just no way around. The land, the rich that are rich. I mean, now is a wealthy man's game. I mean, the era where a working cow.
Yeah, it's man, it's a completely different game nowadays. I remember, back in when I moved out here, so 2017 is when I moved out here. But like right before that, I was looking pretty hard for ground in Southwest Kansas, and it was tough then. And that was 2015 where like, there was a lot of guys that had went out of business and were now trying to get back in. So there was some leases to be had. But then I was working for Cactus at the time, and we sold a set of black baldy heifers, bred heifers for $3,500 a head at that time too. So like it was you could get the land, but then you couldn't get the cows. And now it's kind of both. It's cow prices are
You're
going
not
up.
gonna get
It's just yeah, unless you just kind of fall into something really, really cool, like it ain't. And even then, it still probably ain't all that feasible. But you can give more of a shot at it, be a little bit longer of a shot at it.
well, and yet like my dad, he doesn't manage his rancher in the panhandle, but then he's 100 some odd acres, and which isn't much, but it'll home place. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll never own that.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure in somewhere you find land at $1,500 on it and it's fenced. I'd be a pretty good. You want 100 acres, I mean, 150,000 right there, are enough, and you can't. You're going to like in the panhandle of Texas, plains, and well, just the west, anything east or anything west Texas, grass will never. I mean, you might can run 5 cows, so you're going to pay for all that out, right? Then you think, well, now we need to put a house, and well, we get a pretty double wide from Clayton home, $175,000 for that. How much money you got? $2,500 a month bill you got just between a house and land. I mean, but hell, I'll never have a depressing thought. I don't know what the hell you do to keep going to work, I guess, which is what it's kind of a depressing thought, just because I do think the future of landowners are billionaires for the most part.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, and I think the same way about the money supply too, because even in the Great Depression, the dollar was still strong because the Fed hadn't been around long enough to really fuck things up. So
yeah.
But then it's funny, like I always like to point this out to the conservative folks that we're the party, you're the party of fiscal conservancy and sound money, but Nixon's the one that took us off the gold standard, and traditionally the conservatives are anti-interventionalists, and the Republicans started. I mean, George Bush ruined the Republican Party as far as a conservative party.
Absolutely. I'm conservative party now has been through 3 complete ends. I think we all have of educating people that the Fed is the Federal Reserve. You always hear people say, "Well, it's not what a crock of shit." But
oh man,
it doesn't necessarily control. It's almost the other way. In a lot of ways, controls the federal government. I'll say I didn't understand it very well the past 2 months. I finally do it. Years of the federal government about the Federal Reserve, and you because I mean you essentially have anybody.
yeah,
They control your money supply or devalue your dollar. Will be scared. Yes, be scared of the Federal. I encourage everybody to really figure out what the hell it actually is. Once you do, you'll have a little bit what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Predicament we are actually in, because I didn't really have any understanding of. You don't really realize that really has. I mean, you have to go through the federal right, and it's essentially interest. It's fucking like we all malicious group and governing the strings, and we get deep into that too hard in that opinion a little bit of any system at the federal level will be an act, if that makes any sense. Encourage people go figure out what all of their money doesn't can spend it like fucking idiot. Reserve sense, they're not. I know you're thinking there's a system. You're fucking wrong. For the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the very first like big feud in the once we started this country was over central bank. It was Jefferson and Hamilton that were fighting over it, and Jefferson being the anti-federalist saying like, hey, like, there's times where I really wish we could go back to the Articles of the Confederation where every state could have their own money. And really all it was is like, hey, it's basically like a NATO. It's like, except you have your own deal. And if one of us gets attacked, we're all got your back.
But you essentially had a unified. Further than that, kind of the concept was figure it out, like.
Yeah.
And I don't know how conducive it would. I get a lot of red states. I say that because if you look at to put into federal funding versus how about people, I come proud, whatever. A lot, especially, are a huge as far as what they mostly do the welfare massive draw. And as a standalone state, budget would be a son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is really fucked because like you have Texas where technically they're like a net, they pay more taxes than they receive, but then how many military bases are in Texas? All of that federal funding goes to the state of Texas, so like, and that's like a big chunk of your red states. So like, all like South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, all those military bases all over the fucking place there. And and that's big money. Like it costs a lot of fucking money to maintain a global empire, it turns out.
Faltering one anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so what we were, back on this Fed thing, and we probably wrap up the Fed talk, so we don't just snooze everybody. But there's a few like the autistic people out there that are just like, fuck yeah, this is my shit. But essentially, the Federal Reserve is the apparatus that allows this whole like corporate war and global empire to exist. Anytime there needs to be a big rollout of a war machine, the Federal Reserve sets the interest rates at zero or just right above zero, so that all these companies can borrow cheap money to gear up to fund the war machine. And then eventually you have to raise the rates back up, because when you have interest rates at zero, there is zero incentive for people to keep their money in a savings account, because it pays you. We were talking with my buddy Brad. You're looking at like $1 a year on $1,000 investment, maybe. Like, and that's a very, very generous estimate. Like, and so I can remember in high school, I got like a $3 return on for a 2-year statement. And I was like, well, why do I have it in there? Like, I guess just, it's for an emergency. But other than that, like, there's no reason to have it in there. And so, like, credit card, like, think what credit card rates are going to be once they start jacking these interest rates up even more. Holy
Yep.
shit, you're going to have credit cards at like 50% APR.
I mean, absolutely. And it's not.
They're going to be offering like 12-year car loans,
Well, and your car notes are definitely coming. Things about to happen, but the problem, I'm not the kind of guy how extreme that gets. Because that I don't think y'all just back to the Stone Ages. Like, no, if you're not getting a fucking house,
yeah.
Hey,
That's the thing. I don't think we're gonna see like Great Depression level poverty. Like, I think we've kind of, I like to hope we've progressed a little bit past that point, but you never know. Like, you see after this COVID shit, how fragile the supply chain is, and like how detrimental globalism is at a time like that. Like, when we have none of the manufacturing capacity we used to, and we've got foreign players owning parts of our food supply, like major parts of our food supply, like that. Yeah, it turns out that whole deal's not all that great. Turns out global fascism is just as bad as global communism.
Well, the getting people to identify, because the right can spot global these people. Like I said, the one thing I can spot global communism. You know what it looks like. Can spot global fascism. Looks like. It seems like to be vaguely fuck you. We're not fucking fascist. Like nationalism, definitely massive. In the same way, socialism leads to communism, leads to fucking fascism.
Yeah, and populism leads to both of them. Like it. Yeah, and what is so? But it's funny. A lot of people don't recognize global fascism because that's essentially the world we've lived in our entire lives. We just didn't know it. Like, you
weren't really aware that. That's what that.
Yeah, because like they always talk about the Chinese Communist Party, and the Chinese Communist Party doesn't even believe in communism anymore. Like they believe in the authoritarian part of it, but the communism part, like, they realize they can't run those industries. They tried it. Mao tried the state-run farms and led to famine. The Russians tried that too. It led to famine. So, like, even the communists realize that communism doesn't work. They know authoritarianism does. And if you keep those corporations on a short leash, no, you can go to the moon. Look at them. They've built a booming economy. Ours, on the other hand, it's our corporations have the government on a short leash.
All goes back to the Federal Reserve. You can follow in that fucking need to know, but yeah, the best way you just said, in communism, right? And everyone says, well, the people don't see jack. Like I said, like the government sees it. I know that there's like this communist, basically you're always your labor versus your product, which is called a fucking fairy tale. We of our society, and people weren't doing so, starving to death. But if you one day, this is the crop you fucking need to sell what you can. in forever, right?
Yeah.
That looks like, but people have it in their mind and get free iPhones. It's not in with fascism, like you said. He's the means of production, right?
Yeah.
Right. All you have to do is that as long as authoritarianism, fuck, you need to manage these corporations. I mean, let those guys manage it. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And yeah, the thing that where like you have to draw a distinct line between fascism and the Nazis, which were fascist, but that's a whole different flavor where like there was a lot of you know there's not only like the racism but like eugenics and like a bunch of occult shit and also crystal meth. Have you seen that video where he's at the Olympics just tweaking the fuck out, just like
guy was
rocking in his chair?
that guy doing DIY moon landing.
Oh man,
Yeah, have a great time. Bad for him either. You know that dude Hitler was. But
can you try to put yourself in that point, like where your master race is kicking ass and you are just high as fuck, just like go Germany, fucking Germany all day, baby.
Fucking
fuck.
Great time. But and more to that, I mean, classical fascism, eugenics, and racism, and shit to that. Besides just like, well, they suck. Like, well, like yeah, that there were several tiers to this.
Yeah.
So, fun fact about eugenics, likes eugenics, and it's really bad. Guy on a monument in South Dakota of eugenics. Teddy Roosevelt. Everyone,
Yep.
Google it. Huge proponent.
Yeah.
No, not Ted. Like,
yeah. Well, and they also like, and he was a badass. Don't get me wrong. He was he was a little man complex deluxe, and he was so much like Napoleon. It wasn't even funny. It was a little man that wanted to play war all the time. But you know what? He got shot and finished his speech before he went and got attended to. I was like,
the dude he was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm not cussing him. Like I'm not saying like we all have skeletons in our come up and make him fucking apologize.
Yeah.
He's like, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. I say a lot. You know what I mean? He didn't actually using the ill and shit. So another point, the Fed talk. So book status. I want your opinion. Well, you have kids. I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
For right? Is it a form of eugenics and you're having an abortion when, let's say that it's very, very likely that this child is that eugenics? Do we doing that out of consideration of the baby? What do you think?
I think this is the exact same thing as the abortion talk in general. I think it is technically, but I also see the point of view where you're saving them a lifetime of pain and struggle, and I can sympathize with that. One of my best friends early in life was a kid with Down syndrome, and he died when I was like 7. It was a sad deal, and you wonder like just nip it in the bud, but also like I don't know. I had this discussion with my wife, and I have no hard line opinion on abortion because it just doesn't apply to me. Like if I've had that scare before where is it mine? It turned out it wasn't mine, but the thought of getting rid of it never crossed my mind. It's just like that. That's just how I am, and I understand people that don't feel that way. But that's my personal thought, and that's my wife's personal thought on it, and like that's all that matters to me. And outside of that, I just man,
we're not going to like this episode. I in my life truckloads of Plan B. get. But the other side of the thing, like in a remote range, had met my wife twice when we found out she was pregnant. Time we ever hung out, we hung out. I get a text at Christmas, see my family. I get a text and a picture of like, you're going to be a daddy. Drive 12 hours solid. I was like, fuck. And at this point in my life, like I am not we never debated getting rid of it. We just called the tune, time to pay the fiddler. I've got two beautiful kids. The other side of things is like some pigs back in the day, Land B.
Yeah.
Or like I don't care.
Oh, I've bought some Plan B on occasion too. You know, like I don't look down on anybody that does it. I really, it's just such none of my business what somebody else fucking does. Like that deal is just like I can't give. If they ask me for some advice, I'll see what I can do. And sometimes my advice is like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're religious or anything, but you just, go ahead and pray on that one, because that seemed like, whether you're religious or not, seemed like a good plan,
Sure. And like, you know what I mean? Like, do it.
Yeah.
What you will.
Yeah.
The thing with me too, because like, a baby dies, and on the other voice, and like, do you want either of those?
Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example of how the government shouldn't. And I honestly, I kind of agree with like the old Bill Clinton line: safe, legal, and rare, and then just like shut the fuck up about it. Like,
Yeah. Well, and I'm of the opinion, this is several times, like, what's your opinion? I don't think it should be federally mandated. So I'm like, I think it's a state's right. Let your general populace, fuck yeah, we love abortions. It's like, we're not funding this shit. Like, figure it out. If you do get knocked up, like, have to scramble its brains with your own. That it is. There's a clinic for it. Enjoy. Yeah. And the general populace says, all right, then we're not doing it. Don't even worry.
Yeah, I just, it was such a good ruling that was made. I just wish it was over something besides fucking abortion, man, because it's a huge step back towards state sovereignty and state rights, and that is must. I mean, that we needed that so badly, and I don't know. I have very strong feelings on that whole abortion issue, but I have very strong feelings about that ruling in general, and it was right and it was needed, and it's like a huge step for starting to chip away at some of this federal bureaucracy.
I agree. Is like that's why I say it's dumb shit perspective. People, Roe versus Wade did none of that. That never. Basically, like abortion, you don't have a right to an abortion. Something you're guaranteed. Let this a state right. Let them figure this was a great ruling. I really did. I was like,
yeah,
you've probably seen it. Then I see a thing going on, and I see a ton of. They're like, I just wish women's body is a gun, and I'm like that is guaranteed in the Constitution.
Yeah,
it has to be a completely different fucking way, and I don't give a shit what you say verbatim. You have the right, like it's in there, right?
Yeah,
it says like you have the right to life, liberty. At no fucking point does like if that guy from the bar camp, you know what I mean? have a right to get in. You know what I mean? Flush
Yep.
it. Go eat some breakfast. Not in there. So it has to be.
Yep.
Different, man.
Yep. It's yeah, it was. I don't. Yeah, it was a good ruling, and I think I think the gay marriage one will get challenged, but I really hope they uphold it, but they do it the right way and do it like under equal protection clause in the 14th Amendment instead of just writing law, which the judiciary is not supposed to do. That was the main reason Roe was repealed, because they essentially wrote a piece of legislation, which the judiciary is not allowed to do.
That's right. Bring that up. Essentially, they overstepped. Like the gay marriage is another one. Green, right wing conservative. You know, if you don't want to do a church marriage, let's say, like, look, I don't want to do a gay. It's like I don't think you should like to do a church marriage. As far as this was shit, and then I hear people like, well, like, what stops you from marrying a dolphin? You do marry the goddamn dolphin. Like, since you about this shit, 50%.
Yeah, I just
let's stop propping up like it's like I don't give a fuck what you do. So much of a shit about that stuff. And
yeah.
like, for the religious people, like, hey, you should be forced to bake a cake. You should. It's like none of that. Like, you have to do that. I also don't think that people to not be fucking gay or not goddamn business.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you? And I, like I said, I still Christianity goes. I still like. I mean, Christianity doesn't have a spotless mitigating and ruling society.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and even in the modern day, look at the Southern Baptist Convention did an they hired an independent auditor to or investigator to look into sexual abuse allegations. Turns out it was a lot of it.
They never got this, and I think they had me pegged for a Tom guy. They ever tried to pull me into a bathroom. I'm a little jealous of the ones who did. I will say that I have Catholic friends, and I had a girl one time we were hanging out with. Catholicism is the oldest religion. I was like, Jesus was a fucking messianic Catholicism. I mean, what? Like, where did you pull that out? But we got
so yeah, like the precursor to Christianity was the first monotheistic religion.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, I'm sure there's a caveman who covers thousands of years of human history where they were worshiping. I mean, like I said, like we love to worship. We went on further in the talk. I was like, what do you think of all these claims that priests are fucking these civic little boys? It seems to be. I think it's all bull. I was like, you think you mean? And she's like, yeah, I like allegations. I did like church to show her like the list of these priests, because like they get in a place and they go to San Antonio. What do you think of this? And she's like, yeah, I just. He did. I was like, oh my god, so bad. Like you.
I feel like it's the same way with the black community and OJ. They know, but they don't care.
Oh.
It was fine. It was finally the black guys got one.
It's this like we need one dub. And I think it's cool that he got away. Like I don't.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
He really showed what the American judicial system can do for you if you got a lot of money.
Oh, like I said, like I mean, if you can run like that, it's good to go, baby. Like
go ahead.
We
we were talking about the Browns with when I had my buddies Nick and Brad on, and that
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson deal is just the funniest thing. I mean, it's if he's guilty of it, it's obviously not funny for the ladies, but just from a Browns perspective, like it is the most Cleveland Browns move of all time. You
For
draft this quarterback number 1 overall. He's the future of your franchise. Turns out he's good sometimes, and then other times he just really sucks. And then you don't stand by him, and then you go spend a ton of money after Deshaun Watson finally gets kind of cleared from the legal issues. And as soon as you sign him, boy, a bunch of allegations come out. Not just a few, but like 26 or some shit like that.
Jesus Christ.
And then you trade away your former first rounder for a 5th rounder.
I know. Like,
It's
what a
just
shame.
it is a glorious shit show to watch unfold.
But it's money in the judicial system. Like, that's something else I think is will say. I was watching modern bond system because I mean, not per se. I'm a bail bondsman. Just what the general really get into, like, the nitty gritty of the system is, like, essentially, if you're a kid, like, we'll see at your court date. You know what I mean? Let's say you're innocent and it's a minor on doubt. It's like you're fucking here, fucking anywhere.
Yeah.
And like, that he will not be in for a month. Another really fucked up system that, until I kind of investigated Christ, man. And like, we have fucked this thing. Private prisons. That's another.
Yeah, I was just talking with my coworker about the private prisons deal. I was like, oh, and I just like, I keep wanting them to admit that the war on drugs is no different than the prohibition on alcohol. It's the exact same thing, except we've involved far more countries in it. Like we've fucked up Colombia, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico. We have fucked up like all of Latin America with our war on drugs.
Ad talks to me about the problem. Most of the problems in makes money or American greed. Like,
yep.
Where do you think these drugs are headed? You think these guys, these drug cartels got rich? Like, no, dude. Like, us. Like, we're the one. Literally, not. I mean, a damn cartel. And in them, but I encourage everybody to look at. Like I said, like most of everything of our fucking draconian. I don't know at what point you're like, you know what? Like I said, like I'm starting to think that we're not there yet, apparently, because like me about Biden. I was gonna give him a little credit in of like marijuana, right? Like it's got to be on the fucking dick. You know what I mean? Like I just thought you want an easy win. If Biden's easy win,
right,
overshadow fuck of a president, you're like marijuana's off the goddamn list. Like dude, that would
if they
carry you.
And you could shit on the Republicans all day because you'll have goobers like fucking Tom Tillis and Mitch McConnell and all these fucking old just squares that'll be like, marijuana's bad for you. And you could shit on them, make memes. I will make memes all day long about that shit. And like, it would probably, like, I don't know if it'd do enough to win them the midterms, but they could make it competitive just off of that one issue, because then you would also get the libertarians on board because you're like, hey, federalism, right? Like,
Yeah. I had really did have a feeling running in camera frozen, or is that just?
No, I'm good. I'm just.
Am I moving?
Yeah, you're good.
God, anyway, not the point. The point is going into. I was like, Trump might be in trouble. Hamstrung the shit out of him. Tough one to win. Biden was, I will say, like it or not, played into Trump's. Trump exactly how Trump wanted to be. Opportunity to give these little snippets shit and just get little digs in. Professional politician is the most frustrating because it's like, what in the fear? Like, he just keeps wall shit and it sticks. Like Biden just kind of did a pretty good job deflecting into it. So running into that, it's like, man, I don't know. This isn't good because it's a weak candidate. But
yeah, that
like,
first that first debate was rough for Trump. Like he looked like way too much of an asshole.
I agree, and it was
like his second debate was really good, but that first one was, and he looked like he was coked out of his mind too.
Oh, who wouldn't be? If I had that fucking track, I would be way sober. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man,
that. Oh my!
Like I kind of want to be president for a week just so I can get on the drugs that Joe Biden's on right now, because when they jack that motherfucker up, whoo.
Yeah, I make a drink called like I don't know, like just like a nice mixture of what they were feeding, giving Biden. Like,
oh man,
dude, you know, if that easy. But
and
like, Trump wants
like, okay, I was just gonna say, like, it's not like it's Biden or Trump specific, because Obama admitted to using cocaine. George W. got caught doing cocaine. Bill Clinton, I did not inhale, man.
Oh God, that guy was.
Yeah, so like, so my coworker today, he told me that he thought it should be a death penalty for anybody doing drugs, and I was like, death penalty like that? I mean, that, I guess that would do it, maybe, but I was like, so like what drugs?
Like,
so like, how about the 19-year-old military, army private that's got a pack of smokes? That's illegal for him now. Does he get executed? Because because nicotine's a drug and it's illegal for a 19-year-old. That 19-year-old's a private in the army and carries a rifle for a living. Does he get executed for that?
I don't think I deserve to be executed. ADHD kid. It's a tech. Tech. Not for that. Or also ADHD kid. I deserve the death penalty for that. Like, no, that's a fucking insane. Going back to the Trump thing, I thought 4 months running up to the election, I'll drop an A-bomb. Like, legalize marijuana, and like your last 4 months running up to the election, pull all the libertarians back into your head, all of your fucking insanity. Like, a lot of the independents are going to, because they didn't like Biden.
No.
The votes they chose him. Come on, man. Like, that's gotta be what the fuck's going on. The big pharma pervasive, I guess.
Oh man.
The amount spend on just like quality to just shovel to these guys, we got a treat for you, buddy. Yeah, because like, how the fuck is nice? That is one thing too, that you and me can sit here and smoke it.
Yeah.
Besides, I would say there's into the population left who actually like, like living by people, walk by people, you smell it. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh yeah, like nobody cares more, and it is selling. Like that.
You look at them the same way as if you're walking by somebody and you smell booze on them. Like, it's the same It's the same thing nowadays. And
like nobody like it baffles. Want a slam dunk as a president seems to be the most obvious, but no, really don't understand.
yeah, but you still have those few boomer conservatives that they smell that, they think that dude's gonna stab them. But everybody who actually knows about weed knows like that guy is definitely not gonna stab you. He's too deep in thought.
People, well, like there was this old pervasive, well, marijuana is a gateway drug. Huge study that showed what it was people that tried marijuana again. Like that was like they right then, like it nothing that it's a gateway drug, but I always tell that game, right?
No, cocaine's a gateway drug.
Reason, man. I believe this. Like if you I don't know the DARE program, but my generation, so and I don't shit anymore. But I will say, into high school when you're coming up in the Panhandle of Texas, was like weed will ruin your fucking the whole DARE spill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some guy has no shit up in like a plastic bottle bomb. Try something. You're like, yeah, why not? You know, and you try it, and my brain nothing like what they said it would. Like the beer has way more fucking. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, I mean it. Been lied to. So then.
Oh man, that first time I went to rope, when I got high and I could like hear just the tip of my rope just going womp womp womp. I was like, oh, I like this a lot. I really like this effect. You know, it goes back to like being the hero in your own movie because you're just like you're like POV just being a fucking hero right there.
Oh, but like I will say, because of education, I tried been lied to. Like this does nothing. This is, and then I was like, what else? Through like a 2-year phase where it was try everything that's handed to have a back.
Yeah.
and like was the DARE program wrong? Shit, I would tell people like, but like it said like their education in a lot of ways from trying someone because like my boo about weed, dude, like what the fuck is that other actually? And I will say people don't agree with like if and you want to take a casual bump of, I think that should be perfectly legal. I've done coke, but like I said, like you know, like
yeah. Well, I'm in that same boat. I will say, like, having for all the shit I talked about the Southern Baptist Convention, like having a good Southern Baptist mama is a good thing because like that there are some real perks of being raised in the Bible Belt. You know, like you learn very quickly what was right and wrong, and then as you got older, you realize that that line gets blurred a lot, even by the people you thought that were very steadfast in that line. But that's just life, ain't it? But
and like
so I had a couple snooters here and there in college, and and a couple times after college. But I knew from that first go that like, oh, this is not going to be my thing because this could be my thing very easily, and so like I never bought the shit, and I would say like 9 times out of 10 I turned it down. There was every now and then I would do it, like I don't know, there was something about like seeing my mom's face in the back when I was doing it. And then also I'm just like, I've seen how this shit gets people, and it's usually sometimes it's the coke that gets them down, but it's usually when they can't afford coke and then they go to something else. Yeah, it's either crack or meth.
I completely agree, and really, I mean, that same way. I grew up Baptist home, and I always have that thing in the back of your mind, but like, keep in mind to this. And so, luckily, I've been fortunate. The only thing very well is nicotine. Everything else, much try it once, and I was like, dope. You know what I mean? Like, I know what it is. Tried. I won't even. But like, anything I ever tried, immediately told me like you can never. And it gave me an understanding meth, and let me tell you on that point, because I tell people like in coke, a lot of times you wouldn't know you had done to high. Y'all see on movies people act like idiots. And I'm like, it just feel kind of like you had a really good night's energized, like you're ready to go, like you don't feel.
And you're just like, oh, I can just go drink a lot more beer now. Like that's how you feel.
Yeah, exactly. Like you zooted it out of your mind, but like I tried meth. I remember like as soon as I literally had this thing in my balls, so good again. Like because like this, like nothing's supposed to feel like you're supposed to experience. People get addicted to it in a lot of ways. It's mental weakness, but after trying it, it did give me some under shit is potent for a guy that makes it outside of Ada, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I never touched that shit, but I remember they showed us that HBO documentary on meth when we were in high school, and like that was honestly the best thing they could do, because like it wasn't just like it wasn't reefer madness. Like they showed you the real shit, and I was like, oh fuck, yeah, that. And but also you got, God damn, that stuff must be good, because at that point I'd been drinking beer a little bit, and that was kind of mostly beer, a little whiskey here and there, but like that outside of alcohol and chew, out beer and dip outside of that I hadn't done anything, but like I drank enough beer to know like if they got all them fucking lesions on their face from scratching, that shit must be really fucking good. And like, I'm gonna stay away.
Yeah, I grew up in like the nearest meth head was next door. If you're in kind of a generation like the meth had infiltrated all these, it's fucking everywhere now. Yeah, it's seen firsthand what this shit did. Like this going bad. My brain was like I will tell anybody a drug. I'll say like fentanyl in your coke or some bad shit. No drug is fatal the first time. Don't condone sampling everything. Addiction is a tough one for disease. And as a guy who has sampled, like I have a hard time addiction, which doesn't make me right. It just is like, like you gotta have just the soul to be like, we don't make our fucking life about this. You know what I mean? We pursue because on the HBO documentary, like things get fucky like a damn time.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I think just about every cowboy on earth, and it's not universal, but it's a goddamn heavy percentage has struggled with their alcohol intake on basically a constant basis.
Yeah,
and I'm no different. I've had a DUI just here recently, and it just it's part of the culture. And thing is, like, there ain't nothing better than cracking a cold beer, throwing in a big dip, and just shooting the shit after a long hard day of whatever you're doing cowboying.
Sure.
Like that is
Just
the best time of day, and you get to where you really like that shit. But more than anything, I just like that camaraderie. And then when that camaraderie is not there, you go to the beer for it, and then you just go, and then like everything else, it goes. You go to harder shit, and next thing you know, you're showing up drunk, and I never got to that, the point where like I couldn't function. Like I never really got to the point where it affected my job. But also, I was never one to call in hungover. I've called in sick, and
Sure.
it takes a pretty good fever for me to call in sick. But I've never called in hungover. Like I've always known this is self inflicted, and I don't give a shit. Like
Sure.
no,
Like, get there and
that's on me.
get it done.
Yeah, and I may do a shitty job today, but I'm gonna do a job today.
And it come into say because I mean we drank everything we could get our. Your goal was if you could be drunk up about 6 the next morning. And as I've sat to school with or hung out with as a kid, it seems like there were kind of two took. Like, we'll have the account. I mean, of course, you have the stone cold sober, but most of us, like, Asian, have a few, but that's every night. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to just went left, like, or stopped. And I've got buddies who they're 25, 30-year-old. I mean, like, need intervention.
Yeah.
I would like to. That makes people, some guys be like, yeah, like good all the time. And some guys that like, because I saw the influence, similar household was similar doing the same shit. It's always been kind of a curiosity. For some people, it's some monster guys. Like it's not a phase. It was just you.
Yeah, and we were at that wedding here a couple last month, and and it was typical McKinley family get together. There was plenty of booze to be had by all, and it was a good old time. And my little boy's 5, and I was drinking beer. I got to play Kegsmith again. I hadn't played Kegsmith in quite some time. And we were talking like as like me and my nephew who got married, and then like a couple of his buddies from college, and then a couple of the younger guys from there, and we were talking about how like if you went to a college worth of shit, you became a pretty good keg operator. Like you learned how to fix, or at least if you came from the rural America, you learned how to just put a little 10W30 on that O-ring, and she'll hold air again.
Oh yeah.
And but my little boy asked if he could have a sip of beer, and I almost did, but I was like, no. And I said, no, son, let's wait on that. Like I said, one day these days you will, but I don't want you starting this early. Because he's a spitting image of me, and I didn't start that early, and thank God I didn't, because I could have been way off the rails. And I want him to decide if he likes it on his own, but like we'll wait till he's 14, 15, something like that, and does something cool.
And like my dad, he was when I was in high school. He wasn't an idiot. First beer, I think, when I was 16. It's Square Body Chevrolet. We were working a Shiner Bock. I remember. And adult.
That was the first beer I had with my dad too. I had stole plenty of my dad's beer, but the first one I drank with him was in the Amarillo airport, and it was Shiner Bock.
There you go. Like that was a really dad wasn't an idiot around. He knew beers were disappearing. stupid. He was fairly tolerant, full idiocy.
Yeah.
Was like, I knew it wasn't kosher. Like, it 2 times, and I was punished severely. He was pretty lighthearted. I mean, he didn't just shame you to death. But buddies are like, yeah, we can go over to my house here. And I was like, yeah, we like I said, like there's no fucking way with legs. Before adult, like hell, I mean, hell, he didn't was allowed to make my decisions freely. He tell people too, it probably had with any temper, that probably played a big part in it. It wasn't that it was unacceptable. It gave, this isn't something you should do. And then him doing that, when you're 16, like I said, because you have to get you boys beer tonight, and conversation list with Jason and Sargent. Go and sit outside of the liquor store, somebody to buy you beer. The whole thing.
Oh man, beer used to be so goddamn expensive.
Just dude, yeah, fuck you. Okay, half the time we didn't even drink beer because, like I said, you had to pay double whatever. Like I said, this third. So we just drank Mad Dog, about 4 bottles of Mad Dog. 20.
Oh boy. Oh.
Yeah, I don't drink.
Luckily, I had buddies with older brothers that were right of age when we were coming into our prime, and so it cost us about, we'd buy their 12 pack for the night, and then they'd buy all of our beer for us. But so I mean there was a little bit of a tax there, but not. It wasn't like going in the city and just waiting outside of 7-Eleven, and
what people, like does Colorado have beer? I should know, but I don't even know if they do.
No, what's that?
Does counties like I live?
Oh no, no. Colorado's the liquor laws are universal, statewide.
Okay.
And so when I was in college, it was 3-2 beer in the grocery stores and the gas stations, and liquor stores were closed on Sunday, but you could get 3-2 beer in the gas station. I don't think you could in the grocery store. I think it was just the gas station. And then I think my junior year of college, they changed it to where you could buy beer on Sundays. And then shortly after that, they moved like full strength beer into the grocery store.
In Texas, you have dry county, but
Kansas used to be that way too.
For us to get beer, area podunk liquor store line, so you had to whole drive to this little. And then you just sit there loitering, and just, be like, hey, man, like, set light for you here. And then you with alcohol, the night, some night. But if you ever get a guy to send your money and get him to just buy, because you don't know when this is going to work. It was a small task for us to get a hold, which also probably was too, which you grew up in those little shitter. I mean, there was nothing to do.
No, you drag main, or you'd go and shoot rabbits, call coyotes.
That was
there was nothing to do.
We would literally drive up, and you kind of gather up whoever, hopefully at least a few female, and then whoever you go out to their place with a spotlight, and you shoot it stuff.
Yeah,
that's it. Because she grew up in the middle of about all the stuff they did in high school. Did
I know
none of that.
Yeah, like Aaron was telling me stories about because he grew up in it'd be like southwest Denver. He grew up just off of Federal and like Federal in Florida, somewhere around in there. Or like Santa Fe, that Santa Fe and Federal, essentially. And so he went to JFK, and so like grew up with all the Mexican kids in Denver. Like that's a heavy Mexican community. And he was telling me about
Mhm.
and I got to witness some of that shit that our I guess it's been our sophomore year, first house we had up at CSU. And we threw our first Nickapalooza, which our buddy Nick, who um if you're a Patreon subscriber, you heard him today, but everybody else will hear him tomorrow. He's the youngest of our bunch. Like, so he was 7 or just turned 18 going into freshman year of college. And so we
Mhm.
threw him his own birthday party because it was like August 5th is his birthday. And so we threw a big rager. It was like the back to school party. And yeah, there was a bunch of drunk ass Mexican kids from Denver in my backyard throwing an empty keg against a tin shed, and we got the
Sure.
cops called on us. And I was the one they selected to go talk to the cops, and I wasn't the worst one there, but I was far from being in good speaking condition. And
No way, bro. Yeah.
luckily, luckily the cop was from eastern Colorado, small town, and I was like, these are a bunch of Denver kids, dude. And he's like, yeah, I get it. He's like, all right, well, clear them out, we won't write you a ticket. Fuck, all right. So we just ushered him out. But yeah, it was just, yeah, those city kids, they partied a little different than we did. It was fun though. Like when you find them in their element, you better be ready to fight. But when you
Yeah.
go to those things, it's a good time, but like you got to stay on your toes.
Well, and that's why like I went to Tech, and you go to these honestly weren't very much fun because like 2 drinks in before somebody, it was just like they had pain in the ass.
Yeah.
About that.
We should save our college stories for we'll do a Patreon bonus content with all of our college stories. And I also kind of got to take the leak. So we'll wrap it there for the main episode. I wasn't for sure what we were going to talk about, and I'm still not real for sure what all we talked about, but it was fun.
I wish this. See, this is the like I don't know if we need to freeball all these things.
Yeah, I know.
Sure.
Next time we because like last time when we had a topic, it went pretty well, and we
Yeah.
didn't do too much philosophizing. So I think you're right. We need like a rough outline.
That or like a third party adult track, whatever.
Yeah, we don't do good unsupervised.
Casual.
Yeah, but yeah, this has been a fun one. So we're gonna call it for the main episode. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Zachary Sargent on Facebook, at Move Your Ass on Instagram. Make sure you go, like, if you'd like to help the show, honestly, the best way is to go patreon.com/burning daylight, subscribe there, or you can subscribe to the premium on Spotify. I highly recommend Spotify for watching the episodes. It's all video. It's the same setup that Rogan has. So you can watch the video, or if you're on the go, you can lock your screen and it just keeps playing like normal. And yeah, it's a pretty cool setup, and it makes me a little bit more money if you watch it on Spotify. So I appreciate it if you do. But anyways, Zach, you got anything to add before we head out?
I do. Oh, what like how many Patreon? Do you know?
I've got about 60 people on Patreon, somewhere in there. It fluctuates month to month, but it brings me in a couple $100 a month.
Okay, like money aside, we can get it to a solid by this time next month. Matt McKinley has to guarantee if you DM him and asks you an anus pic. Just not even in the mirror, just like a brown starfish.
It's it's been a minute. I'll have to start doing some yoga again so I can get some, like, because if I'm sending you a picture of my butthole, I'm gonna present it nicely. I've been able to learn a little bit about photography and lighting and stuff. So yeah,
Sure. I think it's a good pitch. I think it's a good Matt McKinley butthole. Then
are bleached buttholes still a thing? Like, that used to be a thing, right?
They absolutely Pueblo. It was, but I don't. I'm so far out of nailing the same piece of ad. No idea.
Yeah, I haven't had a strange vagina in over 5.5 years or something like that. So
at this point,
no. Hold on. I'm 2012. Yeah, so before that, yeah. So I don't know. I'm way out of the game.
Weird question for you. Have you ever nudes by a follower?
No, but I get I get tagged in the same post about once every month and a half in the bull session group, about the admin asking for nudes, and I was like, if you really, I was like, I'll ask for nudes if you want me to. I mean, like, if you are you offering? I mean, like, I don't know if I want to see them, but I'll ask if that's what you want. Like, I'm all about helping. If is there a funny to it? Like, are we going somewhere with it, or is it just like? And then the same meme kept popping up, and I'm like, yeah, it's funny. It's still funny every time, but I don't respond to it anymore.
I was just curious if it had ever actually. I assume if, like, you check the amount of just nudity.
Oh my word! Well, I remember listening to a podcast with the Chive guys, and they talked about, like, the folder that they got. Like, my word, like, yeah.
That's
and I've not got any of that, but I've also my recent Spotify statistics showed that at least on Spotify, I'm 80% dudes, 10% female, and like 8% unspecified or some shit like that.
percent out there listening.
Yeah, I don't know. I
like,
probably don't do that. My wife will get mad. I promise you, she will.
Oh.
So yeah. So I mean, maybe I just don't. It'd be better that you don't. Probably be better.
Send to me.
Yes, send them to Zach. Well, if as long as somebody else sees them first, I'm sure I can get away with the critique. I don't know.
That'd be a fun episode right
I'm always down for a good critique, but like, yeah, I haven't got any of those. I do get some questions from younger guys every now and then. More than anything, I just get memes, but when they're not ones that I've already seen already, I really enjoy them most of the time. I don't get sent too many stupid boomer memes, so I do appreciate that. I had to regulate the bull session group. We got way too many just like Biden Pelosi memes, and they got to where they weren't even funny either. It was just like ranting, and it's like,
love like those low. I mean,
yeah, I just like
be a political.
No, like I created that group for the spiciest memes out there. Like the spiciest memes that are allowed without us getting banned, and even some that'll get us banned. But like that's what the bull session's for, not for your generic boomer memes. Like like it's supposed to be funny. And that's all I created it for. So, and when it got to where it wasn't funny anymore, I had to be like, hey, get your shit together, bring your A game here.
Yeah, I like how you corrected the It was good.
Yeah, it's you have
That was it.
you
That was
have
the end.
to.
And I thought, if we hit 100 Patreon this time next month and in the inbox, I guess that's
you know what?
wanted-
I'll even look into doing the chocolate buttholes. Well, maybe I'll just send out a chocolate butthole to every Patreon member.
it'd be worth it. I'd eat
Yeah.
that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, perfect. And we're gonna talk some dirty college stories here on the other side, but you gotta pay for that shit. So thanks, Zach, for tuning in or for joining us. Thanks everybody else for tuning in, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Your eyes up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. We'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right. Burning daylight. Well, life is just a gather, and you won't catch 'em all. But when you ride through the gate, make sure you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.